A Study in Scarlet, 1887. Episode 2. The Lauriston Gardens Mystery. Welcome back, Detective. When we last met, you witnessed the incredible first meeting between Holmes and Watson. Now you're about to investigate your first murder case alongside the world's greatest consulting detective. Picture this: a foggy February morning in 1881. You're traveling in a four-wheeler cab through the grimy streets of South London, heading toward Lauriston Gardens. Inspector Gregson sits opposite you, explaining the bizarre circumstances that have brought Scotland Yard to Holmes's door. "It's the strangest case I've ever encountered," Gregson admits. "No apparent motive, no obvious suspect, and some very peculiar details that make no sense whatsoever." "What do you think could make a murder case so mysterious that Scotland Yard, with all their experience, would need to consult a private detective? Have you formed any theories yet?" The cab stops before number 3, Lauriston Gardens, a row of shabby four-storied houses with a "To Let" sign swaying in the morning breeze. The building appears empty and abandoned. Perfect location for a crime, wouldn't you say? Inspector Gregson leads you up the garden path. The body was discovered by Constable John Rance during his early morning patrol. The front door was standing wide open, which immediately struck him as suspicious. Holmes examines the garden path with his magnifying glass, moving in a peculiar crouching gait. "Watson, detective friend," he calls to you both. "What do you observe about this path? Look carefully. What might you notice?" Holmes points out several sets of footprints in the mud, some coming and going. One set is particularly heavy, as if someone was carrying a burden. "The game grows interesting," Holmes murmurs. "But let's examine the main attraction." You enter the house. The wallpaper is peeling. The floorboards creak ominously. In the front room, lit by dusty sunlight streaming through grimy windows, lies the body of a well-dressed gentleman, approximately 43 years of age. Here's what strikes you immediately. The man appears peaceful, almost as if he simply lay down for a nap. No visible wounds, no signs of struggle, no blood anywhere in the room. Enoch J. Drebber, of Cleveland, Ohio. Gregson reads from cards found in the victim's pocket. But here's the peculiar part. Look at his face. The dead man's expression is twisted into a grimace of absolute terror and hatred. What could cause such an expression on a man who shows no signs of violence? But Holmes has spotted something else entirely. "Watson, detective, come here immediately. Look at this wall." On the dingy wallpaper, written in what appears to be blood, is a single word: "Rake." "What do you make of that?" Holmes asks you both. Clearly the killer was interrupted before finishing the word "revenge." Wouldn't you agree, Gregson? But Holmes shakes his head. "Think, detective friend. What if it's not English at all? What if RACHE means something entirely different? Can you think of another explanation? What other languages might use this word?" Holmes continues his examination. He produces his magnifying glass and crawls about the floor like a giant bloodhound. "Fascinating. The footprints tell quite a story. There were 2 men in this room with the deceased," Holmes announces. "One was remarkably tall, over 6 feet. The other was fashionably dressed, judging by his small, neat footprints. The tall man was the killer. How could Holmes possibly determine all this from footprints alone? What clues might indicate height and fashion sense? But here's what's truly remarkable," Holmes continues. "Look at the victim's fingernails. Under Drebber's nails are tiny scratches in the floorboards. He was poisoned, but it took time to work. He had enough strength to scratch at the floor, perhaps trying to leave a message." Watson examines the body more closely. No smell of bitter almonds, so not cyanide. No froth at the mouth, so not strychnine. What kind of poison kills so cleanly, yet allows time for the victim to remain conscious? What's your theory, detective? What poison might fit these symptoms? Holmes discovers something else. 2 different types of cigar ash on the floor. Our killer smokes Trichinopoly cigars. The victim preferred a common European brand. They were here together for some time before the murder occurred. Suddenly, Constable Rance enters with alarming news. "Inspector Gregson, sir. There's been another incident. A woman came by earlier asking about the house. When I told her about the murder, she fainted dead away. A gentleman helped her into a cab, but before they left... Yes? Holmes's eyes gleam with interest. The gentleman asked me to give you this, sir. Rance hands over a woman's wedding ring. Holmes examines the ring carefully. Interesting, very interesting indeed. This ring will lead us to our killer, mark my words. But how could a wedding ring possibly solve a murder case? What connection might it have to the mysterious word RACHE and the dead man with no apparent wounds? As you leave the crime scene, Holmes is practically vibrating with excitement. This case has all the hallmarks of a perfect puzzle, Watson. Revenge, poison, international intrigue, and a killer who's far cleverer than he realizes. What are your theories so far, Detective? Who do you think killed Enoch J. Drebber and why? What significance might that wedding ring hold? Next episode, we'll delve deeper into Holmes's revolutionary detection methods and discover what that mysterious word on the wall really means.